our wide body kit for the 2.5RS has finally shipped out. I ordered this kit in August. It is now almost the end of December and it'll be here immediately after Christmas, so the tracking says. So that means that we are going to be full speed on bodywork. I have a lot of the engine stuff for this car, cylinder heads, things like that, in works. So that way we can get an engine back in this thing. I would really like to get an engine back in it once we get through this bodywork portion, so we can go wide body, paint the car, get everything looking pretty, engine in, start fab for the turbo kit. We're working with Borg Warner on this, so we already have our hot side of the turbo. We're waiting on the compressor housing and the CHRA, and then just like streamline straight through this wiring, all the good stuff. We've been in a real funky spot with this car the past like month or so, waiting on random things to come in, so I've just been trying to find stuff that I can do. Now, we actually have a game plan, which is ideal. In the last video of this car, we kind of touched on some of the bodywork stuff I did. I got the top of the hood prepped for primer. We need to prep the bottom side of the hood. We need to prep both of the doors. I am gonna use a carbon trunk on this, so I'm not using the trunk that came with this. I figured if it's a steel trunk with a 22B wing on it, it's going to be too heavy for the trunk springs to open it accordingly. And instead of using the steel one, I figured, hey, let's just get a carbon one. We'll paint the carbon one. With a carbon trunk and a fiberglass wing, I feel like that weight combined will be adequate to that of a steel trunk. So it should still open normally, because I don't want it to fly open. I don't want it to not open. I want it to be somewhat comparable in weight, and I feel like that's the way to do it. If I can do the inside of the hood and the back side of the doors primered and painted, that means we can let those cure for a little bit while we jump on some wide body stuff. And then those can actually go back on the car and get painted with the rest of the car once the wide body is molded on here, the front fenders are on there, and everything like that. So let's get the Subaru up in the air. Let's actually pull out the hood and start sanding the bottom side of the hood to get it prepped for primer. I can actually see a couple spots on the top side that I still need to get that still have some clear coat on them, but that's all right. That's easy. If you have never prepped parts for paint or primer or anything, especially old parts that have sat for a long time or the paint's really bad on them, it is such a laborious act. This bottom side of the hood alone has taken me hours. The top side, I want to say, took me about, I don't know, maybe half a day or so, and that's with filling all the holes, block sanding everything smooth. The bottom side is way worse because you've got all these grooves from all the support braces that run on the bottom side of the hood, so you really have to get in there with either sandpaper, wire wheels, whatever you can find. Bottom side of the hood is done. This took me about 2 hours to prep this for primer. So the hood is fully prepped for primer on both sides. So this we're gonna set aside for now. All that needs to happen with this is it needs to get cleaned before we shoot primer on it. I don't know if we're gonna get to that in this video. I'm hoping that we can at least get primer on this stuff, because the way I like to do this, I'm gonna spray primer on it. I'll let it cure for about a week. I'll sand it nice and smooth, then shoot my base coat, or then shoot the undercoat, base coat, then clear coat, so that way this panel is done and prepped. I've been on the fence with how I want to paint the car. Ideally, with a metallic, you want to paint the entire car all at once. However, as an inexperienced painter, I've painted one car. As an inexperienced painter, granted, my painting has gotten a lot better. Everything that I read, especially in doing it in a small enclosed space like this, obviously we mask everything off, we get ventilation and we do all that, but doing it in a more confined area, everybody is telling me do it in pieces because it can become very overwhelming very quickly to try to do the entire car all at once. So I think the way that we're gonna do it is break it up into chunks. Do what we can when we can. Will there be a small color deviation? Maybe. I can't tell you for sure. All I can say is that when I go to paint these panels, I need to paint them in the same direction so that way the car flows naturally with the pearls. The humidity and the temperature are gonna play a huge role in slight color deviations as well. But like I said, as an inexperienced painter, I believe this is the best way to go about it. Now that we have the hood prepped, we need to jump to one of the doors. This is the driver's door. All of this 3M molding, double-sided tape has to come off. We need to weld all these holes shut also. I'm not looking forward to that. What I might do is, if it's a flat enough area and I've got a plug big enough, we might drill these up a little bit, put a plug in there with a magnet, because this is flat. This is perfectly flat here. Drill it up a little bit, put a plug in it, TIG weld that to the door, because this is steel. I can TIG weld steel just fine, but for step one, let's get this side stripped. Doors, in my opinion, are the absolute worst to do. You've got so many little intricacies that run throughout the door. Now on this one, there were body moldings on here that I pulled off, and we are not going to be reusing those. So what I have to do is go through and weld each of these holes up, and it's so time consuming. You've got a couple options. You can fill the holes with MIG weld, you can fill them with TIG weld. What I opted to do is drill up the holes a little bit, and I've got some steel patch panels. So what we're doing is we're drilling the hole to 7/8 using a 7/8 patch panel, welding it in, then we're gonna grind it all smooth, use body filler on top of that to get the door perfectly smooth and fill up any dents that might be on this thing. So this is a real laborious act in just the doors alone. We're not even prepping these for paint yet, just filling the holes. Woo! We have one door. All the holes are welded shut on it. I've just gone through, scuffed it all up down to bare metal. I was reading, because someone was yelling at me. They're like, put body filler on bare metal. Body filler on bare metal. Body filler on bare metal. So I looked. I can put it on bare metal. It says for an extra layer of corrosion resistance, epoxy primer, and then that. So this time we're just gonna do it's not even body filler. I mean, it is body filler technically. We are using Eastwood's short strand filler. I don't want to butcher the name. Premium lightweight short strand body filler. I've been pretty happy with this stuff. It's got fiberglass reinforcement in it, and it works awesome. I will link this stuff down below if any of you guys are doing body work, but I've been super happy using that stuff. That's what we used on the entire battery tray up here when we had to cut it out and then smooth everything back in. I've already cleaned the panel. We're gonna mix up some body filler, get it on this. We're gonna let it cure up over all these holes. Don't mind the little pinholes and whatnot. It's just material. These are fully sealed. We are gonna put cavity wax behind these as well, so that way no water resistance or anything like that can get through. Actually, I don't even know if we're gonna be using cavity wax because I am gonna be primering the inside of the door too, so we'll see. But for now, main goal is to get this smooth, looking like these holes were never there. So let me go mix up some of this body filler. Let's get it slathered on here. Let's let it cure up, and then we'll block sand this all smooth. Be a real pain in the ass to sand out that channel. Oh yeah, I made way too much. That's all right. Why did I make so much? I don't think I'm gonna be able to really see much until this all cures and dries, but all right, looks like we're gonna be waiting. I made way too much. I don't know why I made so much. I didn't know. Okay. While this door cures up, we get I can see a couple low spots, but we'll have to address those after I block this. While this cures, we get the pleasure of doing, oh my God, another door! I do not enjoy the doors, but whatever. We need to completely strip this, wire harnesses, brackets, window, trim, moldings, anything that's on this door needs to come off in preparation to be obviously welded up to get all the body holes filled. And then we essentially have to do what we just did on that door to this door. Gee Wally Vinegar Batman, we gotta get through it. So I started welding up the holes in the other door, then I got a call from Roadrunner Freight that they were trying to schedule the delivery for the Widebody. I asked them, I was like, hey, can I just come pick this up? Because they weren't gonna be able to deliver it till like late next week. So if I can get it today, that just seems like a win. So I need to go back to the house. Thankfully, Melanie is not working today, so we can grab the truck, head down to the freight place, grab the Widebody, bring it back here, and actually start mocking it up on the car. The shop is an absolute mess right now from doing body work, welding, metal work, all this other stuff. So we'll probably have to pick up a little bit when we come back, but that means we can actually start getting everything fitted up to the freaking car. We made it down to wherever this transport place is. They should be pulling it out any minute, getting it loaded up in the truck. We can take it over to the shop and get this thing going. Melanie's behind the camera. She's gonna discreetly film. Discreetly. This box is freaking huge. So I need to open this, inspect everything just to check for damage, because if there is any damage, I need to say something now versus later. And it's always nice to be able to film when opening these, because if there is damage, it's on camera, so you know I didn't break it. So let's grab a knife, let's open that thing up. We're not gonna test fit that stuff till the morning. It'll be in this video, but I'm not gonna test fit it until the morning. I just wanna open it all up and kinda make sure that everything is solid. What's on the top? These look like our over fenders. What the hell is this? Front fenders, side skirts, bumpers. This is the front bumper. Couldn't help myself. I told myself I wasn't going to mock anything up until the morning. I just put the front fenders on. I set the front bumper on the ground in front of it, and dude, this thing's wide. I'm excited. Look at that, you guys. That looks so good. That's gnarly wide too, compared to what it was before. Now, I liked this kit option because it actually gave you full replacement front fenders versus having to cut and then like bond on over fenders to a stock fender. This is a complete replacement fender, complete replacement front bumper, 22B style. I'm gonna have to figure out how to get that to fit, because right now I don't know. We got our rear quarter panels here, one for each side, fuel filler thingy on one side. Back here on the ground, we have the side skirts as well as the rear bumper. So this is a complete kit. You guys have already seen we've been making progress on both of the doors. That one needs to be block sanded down. This one, I've only got in 2 of the holes welded up, so we still need to do the other 5 on here, and then grind all that down smooth, and then grind it all down to metal, then put body filler on it, then sand all that smooth, and then prep this and that and everything else for paint. That's already prepped, so you know, at least we're one step ahead, I guess. So I will see you guys in the morning, and we can actually start getting a lot of these panels up on the car, because at this point, dude, I'm freaking stoked. I'm excited for this again. Good morning, everyone. We are jumping onto the wide body. The shop is an absolute mess, and I've got crap everywhere. And to free up some room in here, I'd really like to get the wide body off the floor and just mocked up onto the car. So that way we can, A, they won't get damaged floating around the shop. B, they need to go in the car anyways. We need to locate things. So this will be quite an interesting time trying to do this by myself, but I don't think it should be too bad. I want to start with the rear quarter panels back here. I'm probably going to start on the driver's side first, because there's no gas door, so it's going to be a little bit easier to line this up by myself. Once we have both of the rear quarters on, we can get the side skirts mocked up, and then we can get the rear bumper and the front bumper mocked up. Oh, and the front fenders, we can actually drill the holes to bolt those on, so that way they're technically on the cars. When it comes to fitting these rear quarter panels, it can be very frustrating, because if one side of the panel is where you need it, the other side might not be where it's supposed to be. So there's a lot of back and forth with fitting, taking off, fitting, clecoing, taking off, putting back on, adjusting, and don't get frustrated if it's your first time doing it. Take your time, make sure everything goes where it needs to. One quarter panel is on. Dude, this looks so good, and it's like decently wide too. Like, look at that. So with these, I have noticed there is, with any fiberglass part, they never fit 110%. This fits, I'd say 95. All I really had to do was trim down here on this portion. There was a little lip that stuck up into the stock arch there, but we're gonna be trimming all that down anyway, so it's not a big deal. It did take me I did misdrill a couple holes, but that's all right. We're gonna be filling and panel bonding and molding this piece to the actual car itself, so I'm not stressing that too much. But I'm pretty happy with that fitment. You guys can see another one of the holes that I misdrilled there, which is all right. This is like perfectly flush going down. We've got enough to be able to mold it there. We can mold it up here, no problem. Molding this into the B pillar here, no, C pillar, A, B, C pillar. Molding it here shouldn't be a problem, same with here, because the window is gonna go in this channel. With the fitment, even down here on the bottom, it lines up with the pinch welds rather well. Now this one, I'm not gonna lie, it was a little bit of a struggle. It took me about an hour to be able to get this panel fitted on here, but it's solid. Like, it's not going anywhere. The other side's gonna be a little bit more of a pain in the butt, because we do have the fuel filler area to worry about. The other rear quarter panel's on, and it fits well, but it definitely needs some adjustment, if that makes sense. So everything up here fits beautifully. Everything down on the bottom, everything lines up really solid up until you get to this point here where it's starting to lift. So I need to order a lot more Cleco clamps to put a lot more pressure on this. A lot of heat going into this to try to form it to the car a little bit better. Should be able to do it, no problem. Like, you can heat up fiberglass to an extent and kind of reshape it a little bit, but regardless, I still need a whole bunch of Clecos because when we go to panel bond this in, I need a Cleco like every inch going around this panel to panel bond this to the car, so that way it does not come off. But overall, like, I'd say I'm pretty happy with the fitment. I would say I'm a little concerned with the location of the gas cap door. I feel like this should be up a little bit more, but I feel like I shouldn't have an issue putting gas in here still. If I do, I can kind of clearance this top area a little bit, but not bad. This is the Aeroluxe kit. Fits surprisingly well. Pretty stoked with that. So let's actually get the rear bumper mocked up and tossed on. I don't know if this is gonna be able to stay on right now because I do not have the rear crash beam for this, but we can at least try to get the rear bumper on.
I don't know where this is supposed to go.
Fitment on this is gonna be crazy.
Bro, the fitment on this is gonna be outrageous. It's super wide back here.
It is very close. Now, keep in mind, the rear bumper actually bolts to the rear crash beam, which I do not have right now because you do need the JDM rear crash beam for this, and I do not have that. So right now it's just kind of held on with zip ties. But you guys can see, even just like lined up, that's almost damn near like spot on. Like, that is really good fitment for a fiberglass kit. Coming over to the other side, same thing. These are just held on by zip ties right now, but once it's actually in, you guys can see that is like solid gappage. So rear end of the car is pretty much all put on. We got our rear quarter panel, rear bumper, and other rear quarter panel up here. I do have the side skirts in the back right now, but we can't actually test fit those up until we at least get the front fenders on. So we're gonna jump over to these front fenders next. These shouldn't be too bad. These realistically just bolt on, so I just gotta line up the holes, make sure everything lines up, bolt it down, and we should be good to go. Then once all the fenders are bolted down, we can actually get the bumper, kind of test fit up on the car, and actually see the kit as like a complete-ish looking car for once. The front fenders were surprisingly spot on with where they needed to be. There was a little bit of warpage, but I didn't really have to trim anything on these. It was really just drill the holes where they need to go, bolt the fender to the car, and that was pretty much it. There was one hole I had to drill for the corner light, but outside of that, I mean, both fenders were pretty straightforward and easy. I got a little carried away. You guys can kind of see the hood on there. I got the fender on, and then I was like, fuck it, I'll just throw the side skirts on, which they fit incredible. They literally snap into place. That's incredible. Then I was like, I will toss the hood on just to see how it looks. We'll put the hood scoop back on. Dude, this shit is going to look so good once it's all painted. That is absolutely incredible. The fitment on this kit has honestly surpassed my expectations. Look at the body lines alone from the hood to the fenders. Like, that is insanely close to OEM. That is a tight fit, which is what we want. We want a tight fit. This side, I'm probably gonna have to shave it down a little bit because it's almost too tight of a fit. Honestly, I might be able to just shift the hood over and split the difference. Even the front bumper lines up beautifully. I am so hyped with this kit. The side skirts literally just snapped in. They just snapped into place. They clip into the rear quarter and the front, and then I just used one self-tapper in the front and the back just to hold them on right now so they don't fall off the car. But this shit looks so good. Honestly, for a $2,500 body kit, I don't think you can get much better for a full fiberglass kit. Like, I've dealt with some like body kits in the past, fiberglass, carbon fiber, name brand, off brand, and this is probably the best fitting kit I have ever used. And I purchased this. I'm not working with Aeroluxe or Luxair. I don't even know the name of the company. I don't know if it's Aeroluxe or Luxair, but whatever. I'm not working with it. Like, I paid for this, and this is 10 out of 10. If you have a 2.5RS, you want a 22B kit, I would highly recommend this kit. Rear bumper, rear end, all fitted up. I do have the taillights. I could toss those in. Should I do it? I'm gonna do it. Let me toss taillights in. Dude, JDM tails on this thing look so freaking good. I had to toss them on. Now there is a piece that goes under the taillight that kind of fills out this area here that we're gonna have to paint with everything else. But dude, seeing this thing actually come together and look like a car again is insane. Now I don't know if we're gonna be using these wheels on the car, but they were a screaming deal that I couldn't pass up. I got a set of SSR GTV 01s for like $150 a wheel. They were on like a blowout sale because they're a discontinued wheel in this size. So I found the fourth wheel on eBay. Funny enough, I paid more for the used wheel on eBay than I did for like one of these, which is whatever. The used wheel is a different color, so we are gonna have to strip all of these and powder coat them, but I'm really digging the silver that these are. So let's actually get these things, let's get 3 of them, just kind of toss on the car, then I can get the boxes out of the shop also, but maybe I'll actually hold on to the boxes just so I can put the wheels back in them for when we're doing all the bodywork stuff. Now these are 18s, that is the only downside. There's also no brake rotor on here, so this fitment is not finalized. But dude, that looks good. I like these a lot. Maybe we'll just put the fronts on for now. Fitment wise, dude, I think it'll be perfect. These are 18 by 9.5 plus 38, so they're like VA STI wheel fitment too. Fuck yeah, dude. So that is all I've got for you guys on this one. Absolute monumental strides on the 2.5RS 22B clone. Someone got mad at me for calling it a 22B clone. Man, it's my car. I'll call it whatever I want. I want to call it a Mustang. I'll call it a Mustang. P25, whatever you want to call it, okay? I'm calling it whatever I want because it's my car. I'll do that. But monumental strides. We can start making some huge progress on the car at this point. Like I said, we actually just got our cams in the other day. We got a set of GSC S2s. While we're focusing on bodywork stuff, a lot of the engine stuff is going to be happening at the machine shop for the cylinder heads and things like that. So in the next video, I think what we're going to really focus on is starting to get the rear quarter panels cut, welded, primered. If we have all that, we can start really manipulating the rear quarter panel areas to really start fitting those pieces on, because once those are on and we have like a good happy point with them, we can start panel bonding them and molding them to the car, which is going to be the biggest thing that we need to do with this body kit, is mold these rear quarter panels on here. I'm going to order a lot more Cleco clamps tonight and some more panel bond. I'll probably use 1 tube of panel bond per side, because as we put that panel bond on, we want a Cleco clamp probably 1 every inch to keep as much pressure on that body kit to the body of the car as possible to ensure that it has permanent adhesion. With this panel bond stuff, it does not come off. It will not come off. Once we panel bond these panels on, they are one with the car. So with that, that's all I got for you guys on this one. If you are hyped with the progress, hit that like button. If you want to follow for more, hit that subscribe button. I'll put it in one of these corners. No idea which one quite yet. And if you like the video, I don't know if I said it already, but hit the button. Color of the day today is blue. It's always blue. The color of the day is blue. But with that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. This video is actually going out on Christmas Eve, so I hope you guys have a good Christmas and a good New Year's and a good Christmas Eve. Merry Chrysler. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. So peace out, homies. Woo!